Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awakened Mothers Show with me, Rev Wendy. I'm so delighted that you are here today, and I'm going to have a really wonderful conversation with my guest, whom you are going to love. So, welcome. Pull up a chair, get some tea, a journal. The Awakened Mothers Show, which you have arrived at, is dedicated to diving deep into the areas of spiritual awakening, human potential, and the mystical aspects of motherhood and parenthood. It is my intention to present boundary-pushing conversations with visionaries, spiritual teachers, wellness experts, and thought leaders who aren't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom. And today, my guest is Dr. Hilary Smith. Now, Hilary has incredible credentials. So I want you to go to her website, which will be in the liner notes, and check out everything about her, her education, her training, her information. And she's also a thermographer. And in terms of Women's History Month, I think it's really important for women to know what they can do for healthy breasts and to know that there's options and alternatives. Like I myself wanted an option and an alternative to mammograms. And so Dr. Smith in 2006 opened Advanced Medical Thermography. And the Breast Thermography Center currently exists in Sherman Oaks location. She's got other locations. She's very much in demand. And she realized that utilizing thermal imaging at the center of wellness and offering a superior service was where all the roads that she had traveled led to. She has, it's amazing. So she's integrative chiropractic and nutrition. She graduated Magna Cum Laude from Southern California University of Health Sciences. She has a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Doctor of Chiropractic degree. Her studies are in functional nutrition, kinesiology, mind, body therapies, herbal medicine, and homeopathy. She is educated and she's so inspiring. And I want you to hear about the work that she's done with thermography. She was personally trained by Dr. Peter Leando, who's an international leader in thermal imaging. She was awarded in 2019 the Certificate of Outstanding Achievement at the ACCT International Conference. And in 2013, her practice focus became centered on breast and full body thermography. Dr. Smith is a native of LA. She received her education locally, and she is also on the advisory board of the She Angels Foundation, and her greatest accomplishment is raising her remarkable son. So please help me welcome Dr. Smith to the stage.
Hi, Wendy.
Hello there. I'm so glad that you are here today to share. Yes. So Women's History Month. One of the biggest areas that oftentimes women neglect are their breasts, right?
Right. I think, well, first of all, I wanted just to thank you for the introduction. In 2013, I stopped doing hands-on chiropractic because I was doing so much thermography, but I actually began thermography in 2006. So I'm next year will be my 20-year anniversary.
Wow.
So kind of a pioneer. Anyway, I think what happened, Wendy, and we've probably both experienced it, and how I got into this is that we're so fear-driven because the campaigns, especially with the pink ribbon, is just about fear. And you would walk into a doctor's office and there'd be a sign on the door that says 1 in every 8 women will get, and you get so scared that you don't even want to think about it. You don't want to do a self-exam. We're just programmed to be afraid instead of how can we be proactive? Right. So I think that's why we don't maybe think about our breasts, because we're afraid to, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, no, when I discovered that you did what you do, and that was back in 2015, I was so excited because I didn't really like mammograms. And of course, everything that we share here, you get to decide what is right for you. So no one is telling you what to do. But I really believe that when we offer information, it allows people to have a wider perspective and more choices. And informed consent and choice are really primo. They're very important. So, but I really appreciated that because I had done some reading about mammograms, and I had learned that you know the exposure to the radiation wasn't so great for your breasts, and so I wanted to have an alternative that would allow me to make sure that I was taking care of my health, being responsible for my health, but not not risking. I didn't feel like there was a risk. And what I really appreciated about you was that you were really gentle, you were really informed, you really encouraged that I do my research. Like you weren't, you didn't just have me come in and go, this is it. You were like, here, this is an alternative. So thank you for that.
So I like to make a little correction or education.
Okay.
So people think of thermography as sort of a radiation-free alternative to mammography, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really what we're offering is something completely different. So thermography is looking at physiology or cellular activity. And mammograms, like ultrasounds and MRIs and other breast anatomical scans, are looking at the structure. So it's like they're looking at the house and we're looking at the people walking around, something like that.
Thank you.
So whatever people want to do with their anatomical visualization of their breasts is fine. It's like you said, educate yourself and make the right decision for yourself. We encourage everyone to do some anatomical testing at various times depending on that person. But what thermography offers is an early look at changes before they become structural. And that's how I got into it, because I wanted it for myself.
Right.
So, which is probably how most people get into things, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, if I'm looking for this, I cannot be the only one, especially 19 years ago. So what I needed, because my mother had had a very traumatic breast cancer, what I needed a tool to help me look at any potential problems that I could correct or do my best to correct. Who knows what people's destinies are, but and so for thermography, what we're offering is a look into the future, a roadmap, a GPS. So if we see changes before they're structural and they can be seen on a mammogram, an ultrasound, that's the anatomical testing that a lot of our community chooses, MRI, there's a cell duplication, there's a beginning of the disease process. And can we see it before it becomes something that is then structurally there? Am I all in my head, or do you understand what I'm saying?
I love what you said. Thank you so much for clarifying that for me.
Right.
So everyone, there is the explanation and the education for thermography as compared to what the other more traditional practices. So thank you for that.
And the physiological testing that we're doing is complementary. It doesn't have to be an either or. But for me, it gave me such peace of mind because with my mother's history, every time I went many years ago in for my mammogram, I was just so afraid. I was so afraid. But now I'm keeping an eye on my health. It's the way you would monitor your blood sugar and not just go right, to going on insulin. Like, we're going to watch it. We're going to change our diet, or we're going to add supplements or herbs. And then we're going to look at it again and see if what we're doing is enough. So we're not just waiting for bad news. We're following our breast health, not disease.
Yeah, I love that, because that's empowerment. It's being responsible. So what are some of the ways that women can also care for their breasts? And I loved how you brought in the holistic viewpoint of supplements and herbs and nutrition. So what are some ways, some practices that women can engage in?
Well, I know that the people that listen to you, Wendy, probably already have a lot of knowledge, but anyway, we can review it. First of all, what are you putting on your body? Like clean, clean, clean. I think there was just a study, I wish I had it, that it was an unbelievably high percentage of risk that you could eliminate by just changing your breast health. Breast cancer risk could go dramatically down with cleaning up the stuff that you put on your body. Because the first couple minutes in the morning, if you're brushing your teeth with fluoride,
oh God, yeah,
which has had a lot of attention lately,
yeah,
putting chemicals on your hair, putting crappy soap on your body, not having a filter on your shower. I mean, you're already absorbing so many toxins in the first half hour of the morning. Mm-hmm. So definitely clean products for your body, clean cosmetics, and then cleaning products. Just go back to the old-fashioned baking soda vinegar stuff that works. Right. And of course, no dryer sheets. Why do people do that? No artificial things hanging on your car. We always tell like the Uber driver, throw that thing out the window. Those chemicals. You don't need to smell chemicals in your house. So clean up your environment, clean up your beauty products, drink clean water. There's so many options now. You know, when we started with thermography and we would see all this inflammation in the underarms, we could always, not always, but usually tell people were using the crack deodorants that they were getting off the shelf. And we could see unbelievable changes when people clean that up. So, yeah, don't use traditional deodorants. They have a lot of junk in them that go into your underarms. They clog up your lymph, and the lymph in your underarm, it's the clogged sink that you need to drain your dental. That's so important for your health, your sinuses, your neck, your thyroid, your breasts. It goes here. You don't want to clog it up. So, right, use a clean deodorant or just, nothing.
Isn't that, that's so helpful too. Even though people can be very aware of things, it helps so much to hear what you just shared. I don't think people connect the dots sometimes because they get focused on a particular thing, like the lymph node under here, that it affects here and here. So something as what seemingly basic as underarm deodorant, like remember the underarm deodorant that would just, people would put it on and they wouldn't sweat for days and they would walk around saying, I have this great deodorant. And I'd be like, what's happening to your system? Like it's not doing anything.
Right. We're supposed to sweat. And even people that think they're doing the right thing, they're buying these expensive deodorants. And then when they come in and we see all this lymphatic congestion in their lymph, I'll ask them and we'll look it up. It has so much crap in it. Just look at it. It should only have a few things. If you can't pronounce it, you probably don't want to use it. Remember, natural fragrance is perfume. It's a chemical. So yeah, deodorant products, cleaning products, clean water. Oh, this is how I got off on this tangent, because there weren't so many deodorant options when we started. There weren't so many great water options. Now there's so many ways that we can clean our water. And I still have people that come into my office and they bring their plastic bottle. And the first thing I say is, why are you doing that? These BPAs, they're endocrine disruptors. They're messing with your hormones. They're messing with your health. Oh, but I don't leave it in my car. That's what they tell me. Okay, sis, you don't leave it in your car, but the truck that drove it from Arizona and parked in the parking lot and then put put it outside on a pallet. It already broke down before you ever got it.
Isn't that crazy? And you know what's remarkable to me is that so much of this was hidden and was people didn't know about microplastics. People didn't realize, you know, you have a young son, you know, young adult son. I have a young adult daughter, and I've shared with her about when you get a hot, you know, a hot tea or a hot coffee, and you get the coffee lid, that has microplastics. I mean, it's so fascinating to me how our society has just been inundated with things like, for instance, you talk about a filter for your shower. Now, if you don't live in your own home and you want to get a filter for your particular shower head, you really have to search for that. Or if you want to turn off the EMFs, right? Everything is so cool. Like the Nest is so cool. You have a Nest, you have an extender, or your internet doesn't work, but all of those EMFs, or you have your cell phone in your bedroom at night. It's fascinating.
So that's another thing. If you use your cell phone as an alarm, then you want to put it on airplane mode.
Right.
And if you have a digital clock, and it's not hard to find, you need to have a digital clock that has red light. So when we first started talking about this years ago, blue light wasn't as big of a deal. But you do not want to disrupt your sleep with a light other than a red light, or if you have a night light, because red light does not disrupt the melatonin production, and all the other colors do. So I have a little clock in my room, but it's red. So you can find that on Target, anything. Super easy. Don't have your cell phone. If you can, of course, turn off your Wi-Fi at night.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have a Nest or an Alexa. I don't understand. I'm not that lazy. I mean, I like convenience, but.
Well, haven't you found that there's this messaging around things that are really not healthy for you, that they're cool, like rather
about the word smart,
right?
It's a smart meter. No, it's not a smart meter. If you own a home and they put a smart, pay the extra money and get the old analog back on there. You don't need that shooting through your whole house, through all your electrical system. A smart refrigerator, I mean, no, thank you.
Right.
Smartphone, smart this, smart that. It's probably not smart, but it's good marketing, isn't it, to call it smart?
Yes, it's excellent marketing. And what's interesting too is that it's marketed, the things that are marketed in this way that aren't the best for your body are kind of marketed as the more intuitive. It's more intuitive.
Yeah.
And so this whole marketing around, it's intuitive, it's easy, whereas it does, as we know from the pathway that we've walked down, it takes a lot more time, energy, and brain cells to read articles and listen to, information that present an unbiased, unfunded truth about your body, and really accelerating your health and keeping your immune system healthy and your brain strong, right? It's like, oh, this is more intuitive. Oh, so I guess that means I should get that. And then I don't have to think very much.
And then you block your real intuition.
Right. Like the fluoride cuts it right off.
Right.
Yeah.
So we know what's right for us intuitively. So I personally don't choose that stuff. I mean, it's not like I'm not living in a modern world.
Right.
I don't have to have it 24/7.
Yes.
Okay. So breast health, vitamin D levels. Let's get back to that.
Let's get back to breasts.
Okay. Yeah. If you go to a conventional doctor and you look at your vitamin D levels, and they tell you they're normal, you have to look at your labs, because normal is normal compared to all the sick people in the United States. We don't want to be normal. We want to be optimal. And so you want your vitamin D levels to be higher. I like to keep mine at about 60. People that have had cancer or melanomas, they want to go higher than that. But normal at 30 is not good enough. And we know from COVID, right, how people that got really sick had very low vitamin D levels. So it's not just for your immune system, it's also for your bone, and it's also for your breast health.
That's fascinating. I never knew that for breast health.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
So we've got the clean water, no fluoride. And it's not just for your intellect, it's that it blocks the iodine from entering into your cells. And iodized salt, the iodine actually will evaporate from salt. So that's how people started to get sick, when they kind of changed the salt, like when they went to seed oils, when everything changed, when we went from natural foods. So we don't want fluoride to block the iodine. And okay, so good toothpaste, clean water, clean supplies, no plastic, and don't even get cheap metal bottles. Get food grade stainless steel. I mean, you get one or two in your life, or I even like to get really clean glass. Cookware, right? You don't want nonstick pans, stainless steel, cast iron. Some people are afraid of the iron from cast iron, but I'm not. I guess it depends. You have to look at your individual situation.
Right.
Okay, perfumes, that would go with, traditional perfumes, deodorants. We don't want to use that. What else can you think of?
So would you recommend perfumes that are made from natural essences? And
just make your own from essential oils.
Right. Okay.
Right. All natural.
Yeah.
Anyway, people don't want you walking in a room and leaving your scent behind.
Do you know what's so funny? I was telling my daughter this. So when I lived in New York, and a long time ago, in one of my phases, I worked as what they called a perfume model. And I worked at Barney's, and I worked at other places with perfume. And I am so sensitive that when there's a synthetic scent, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, people get headaches, they get diarrhea, right? You don't want to put that stuff on your body, and nobody wants to smell it. You don't want to go in an elevator and know the lady before. So that would mean you just don't go to the department store to buy your fragrances.
Right.
You can make it
yourself. I love the outdoor. I personally love outdoor malls, even though you may have to go in. I love that there's outdoor malls to be able to do that, because otherwise, I remember when my brother was alive, and I would go to Minnesota, and they had like the Mall of America.
Yeah.
And it was just like, first of all, it was like a stimulus.
And the lighting.
Yes.
We can talk about light also.
That's really important. Please talk about light.
Well, I think we're going to get our incandescent bulbs back.
I know.
I have my stockpile, but I know a lot of people ran out. First they started like with the fluorescents, but you could get the full spectrum ones. And then why anybody thought what were those ones that had all the mercury in them?
It's not the LED, right?
No, it's the one before the LED.
Oh, right. I can't
remember. At home, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Why anybody thought that was a good idea. Remember when, I don't know, I remember at my age, like if you dropped a thermometer when it used to be and the little bit of mercury went out and everybody had to go home from school. And now it's like they're selling it in a light bulb. So yes, try to go back if you can get the incandescent full spectrum, and make sure that you're looking at natural light. It's so important. So when you go outside, you don't have to wear sunglasses, or at least not the entire time that you're outside. Right. Try to see the sunrise, see the sunset, see natural light. It's so important for us. And of course, don't be looking at your phone and your computer right before you go to bed. Try to get that right. People are getting more savvy about blue light now, don't you think?
Yes, I do. Except with Kindle
Oh,
and the tablets, people get into bed with their tablets and they read. I love, I mean,
a
I
book.
love a book.
Yeah.
I do. I love it. I will say that there is a lot of convenience to a Kindle because I don't have to, I mean, I have 4 bookshelves that are filled and overflowing with books. Look at you, you have books over there as well. So, I mean, books are my friends, but right? Exactly. But there is that. But yes, I do think people are becoming much more savvy about blue light.
Well, I
And
do have blue blocker glasses next to my bed if I look at my phone.
right.
So that's something that's not hard
Yeah.
to get.
Yeah. Well, because I have a child, I keep my phone in another room with the door closed, but I keep it on do not disturb. I know airplane would be better,
Yeah.
but if there's an emergency, I do want to be
Well, it's not right next to you.
No, I don't keep it next to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't do that. But I love everything that you're sharing because it just reminds me of how everything is holistic. It's not, we're talking about breasts and what we can do
Right.
for our breasts and how important it is. No fluoride, clean water, no plastics, and I agree with you. Glass, like I love, people talk a lot about, I don't know what you would say about Fiji water being really therapeutic and it takes out toxins.
Fiji water has silica in it.
Uh-huh.
That's why people like it. It's
Right.
got natural silica. I wouldn't drink it because it's in plastic and I don't even know where that water comes from. It's like Pure Life water, getting a little off topic, but it's from California. We're in California. We have a drought. I was in North Dakota and I went into a convenience store to get a water and they had Pure Life. They have a lot of snow and rain in North Dakota. They don't need the water, our water, right?
Isn't that interesting?
So, yeah, I would just do a supplement of silica instead, but I know there are some people that do it. Look, we all have a few bad habits if that's your jam to drink Fiji water, but then you got to take something else out. The other thing, Wendy, that I did was I got a wood frame bed. Think about these smart beds, going back to smart, that you can plug your phone into it. It's got all these wires. Think about in the olden days, when we used to try to get a signal, we would put a hanger on our TV. Maybe one of the few that remember that. So metal will draw that signal in. So you don't want to be sleeping on metal. And those wires are like antennas. And now there's so much EMF everywhere that you're sleeping. Your body is supposed to be regenerating. And instead you're pulling all this crap through all these, whether you have one of those beds that go up and down and just use a pillow. There's that. Correct? I mean, you don't. So I have just a wood frame bed with a mattress that does not have metal. Another thing you don't want to do is you don't want to have metal right under your breast in a wired bra. Because then you also are having an antenna. An engineer taught me this 20 years ago. You have an antenna right here drawing this into your breast tissue, or you don't put your phone on your body, of course, please. So
you're so funny.
If you have beautiful bras, you can cut the side and just pull the wire out, because you're also,
done that.
You're also not letting the lymph flow. You're not letting things move. So you don't want an underwire bra, but if you have a pretty bra or for a special occasion, but then do an underwire that's plastic, not metal.
So helpful. Oh my gosh. You are such a wealth of information. It's just wonderful to hear all that, because these are what you're talking about are all of these very seemingly little choices that
Yes.
people make that don't realize that cumulatively
Yeah.
they're not for optimal health. They impact that. And I honestly, I had heard about smart beds, but I hadn't, I mean, there's no way I want a smart bed. No way. We have a
No.
wooden frame. I prefer that. I prefer natural fabrics
Yeah. Of
to
course.
anything, of course, but yeah. Thank you. This is so helpful. So Hillary, where can people find you? Because I think people need you.
Check out my website,
Which
which
is?
is pictureinside.com. And that will take you to the Breast Thermography Center, because even I misspell that word sometimes. And so I wrote that myself. There's a lot of misinformation about thermography because it's not a part of mainstream medical. So it's not super well regulated. So people can say anything because they don't know what they're talking about. um, we're not looking to see if you have a hot spot. We're looking at the natural temperatures of your breast. That's what we're measuring with the infrared camera. We're looking at skin temperature, and we're picking up the heat that comes off your body. That's why it's completely safe. We're not putting anything into you. And so we're looking at a change in your thermal fingerprint, or what's normal for you. So if somebody had very cold breasts and then they went to a neutral color, if you were only looking for a hot spot, you'd be like, oh, you're fine. No, there's been a change. There's been a change in your pattern, even though it might not be a hot spot. So we got to figure out what's going on with you. Maybe do some anatomical testing, some ultrasound, look at what you're doing, how you can clean up your environment, your diet. And then we have a great tool to monitor you. So we're not just guessing. And that's why we're working with a lot of people that are doing more natural protocols for breast cancer to see if what they're doing is working. Because whoever you're working with can tell you anything, but we want to look objectively. So that's why I'd like you to read the frequently asked questions on my website, because I try to give you the best information. You just can't Google it and believe anything that you see.
Thank you for that. And I really appreciate your educating me about that. Like I'm still not going to go and get a mammogram. I'm still going to come to you and, do my research, but come to you because I feel like that's safer for me. And
then I'll tell you, Wendy, I want you to do an ultrasound every couple of years as another layer of protection, because no test is perfect. Nothing, mammograms, I'm not saying anything that you can't see on PubMed, misses things all the time. It's just a fact, especially in younger women with dense breasts. But when we combine looking at our physiology, our potential with thermography, and looking at the actual structure, and we put, which I personally do ultrasound, and that's what some of my people that decline mammography, I encourage them to do. When we put those two things together, we have a much better outcome. Yeah. So we want to do thermography to keep an eye on our health. And we also want to look at our anatomical structure from time to time as a complement.
Right. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for all you shared. Thank you for being such a steward of really solid information, and for being somebody that I know for me, I can call you and I can ask, a question, and you have it, and you can always direct me. So I really appreciate that. And how often do women need to go for the thermography? Yeah.
The first time that you come, we're going to ask you to come back in 3 months, because we need to establish your thermal fingerprint. Like for myself, when I first started doing thermography, I had a lot of heat patterns in my breasts. But it was normal for me, and it never changed. So I needed to know that in 3 months, typically when that's what's recommended to follow any changes, we get the thermal fingerprint or the baseline. And then from that second scan, it's every year. The best thing to do is to come annually, because we want to look at very early things.
Beautiful. And what age can you start coming to see you?
I have scanned girls in their 20s that have a very significant family history or who have a problem, but really starting at 30. The
Okay.
reason is what I was just talking about, the thermal fingerprint. With the hormonal shifts in a younger woman, it's hard to get a baseline.
Interesting. Now,
And we don't scan people right after they've had a surgery because there's a lot of inflammation, and not during lactation or pregnancy. It won't hurt you, but it's not a good read because the hormones are kind of accelerated.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, we always talk to everybody before they come in, and we make sure that this is an appropriate test for you. I'll turn people away. And we also do full body scans. So we're looking at pain, inflammation that you can't figure out the source of, and a lot of dental work. We're working with a lot of biological dentists to look at hidden inflammation in the mouth.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I know you do consultations, right? So people can schedule a new patient intake or something like that, right?
Well, when you come in for your thermography, we take your history.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Hillary Smith.
Thank you, Reverend Wendy, for everything that you do. We met way back in the day, and
we did.
We never thought we'd come this far.
I know.
A dream come true, isn't it?
So true. It's so true. It's so funny because we were Maha before there was a Maha.
There was no Maha.
There was just Mama.
There was Mama, and
there was Mama standing up for our children.
Yeah.
So we continue. We continue to move forward. It's
always.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks, Wendy. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Call me.
I will. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. I'm going to make sure.
Or just, you can email me through my website if you have a specific question. Happy to.
Yes. And I will make sure that you have all of the information to reach Hillary. And I highly recommend her. So you are welcome. So everybody, until next time, remember that you are powerful beyond measure, loved beyond description, and a force for good in the world. So go forth and spread the love. I will see you soon. Peace and richest blessings to you all. Bye for now.
Bye.